Hi students, so today we are going to be making peanut butter cookies. But before we start, I want to go over a little review here. First, we're going to start out with our recipe, reviewing our recipe. In a recipe, we have basic things that are in every recipe. So we have the name of what we're baking, the amount, all of the ingredients, the amount of each ingredient, and at the bottom it gives us each step to take, what we have to add first, second, third, fourth. And then at the bottom here it has all the baking instructions, so what the oven is set at and how much time we bake it for. Okay, so let's get started. So the first ingredient is our white sugar, and it calls for 1.5 cups. Our measuring cups here, I have a lot of different sizes, so I want to make sure I find the right size. Your measuring cups may not look like mine, but all measuring cups will have the amount on the handle. So my recipe calls for 1.5 cups. So that's what this cup is a 1.5 cup measure cup. So I want to get 1.5 cups of sugar. See how this is overflowing? It's a big mountain. Roll this out of the way. All right, and then we're going to take our flat edge. This is a straight edge. Then we're going to take it right from the back to the front, and I'm scraping off into the bowl so I don't make a mess on the counter. See that? It's a full flat scoop, and we always talk about full flat scoops. So there is our sugar. Our white sugar. Okay, so I'm going to pour that in this bowl because I want to use the same cup for my brown sugar because it calls for the same amount, 1.5 cups. So I'm going to, brown sugar, remember, we have to pack it in tight. So I'm going to use my hand to pack it tight. And this one can be a mountain as well, because we're going to scrape it off the top when we're finished. Okay, I'm going to use my straight edge and scrape it right off the top. See, it's a full flat scoop. We'll pour that in there as well. Okay, our next ingredient is our butter. And our butter at home, a lot of times we will not have to weigh it because it shows us on our butter package how much it is. So this is 4 ounces, and my recipe is calling for 1 pound 8 ounces. So 4 of these is 1 pound, and then I'm going to add 2 more to that, and that's 8 ounces. But the cookies are delicious. So there's our butter. Our peanut butter. So we have to have a different tool to weigh out our peanut butter. So this is my scale. I'm going to turn it on, and I want you to come up here and look at the numbers. So our numbers, this one here is the pound, and this is the ounces. So we need 1 pound, so this is going to be a 1, and this is going to be a 4.0, 1 pound 4 ounces. So what I need to do is get a measuring cup. All right, so this is my container that I'm going to put my peanut butter in. But do you see how it changed the numbers? I don't want to weigh my container, so I have to re-zero. See how it says 0 right here? I'm going to push my button down there, and it changed everything back to 0. Okay, so now I'm good to go ahead and measure my peanut butter. So I'm going to take my rubber spatula. This is another tool in our kitchen, a rubber spatula. And I'm just going to scoop out my peanut butter and put it in my container until I get to 1 pound 4 ounces. Okay, if you're looking at my numbers, you can watch the numbers change as I'm scooping out. Okay, so we're up to 8 ounces, pound 0.4. We want a 4.0, so I'm going to keep going. Close. All right. You see that? That's 1 pound, 4.0. So that's our peanut. Now we need our eggs. So I'm going to be using liquid eggs again. And this calls for 1/2 cup. So we're going to get our liquid measuring cup. Remember, we use these kind for dry, and we use these kind for liquid. So my recipe calls for 1/2 cup. So I'm going to look over here. These are the cups, and it says right here, cup. And these are the ounces, okay? So 1 cup is 8 ounces, but I only need a 1/2 cup. So 1/2 cup line is clear down here, okay? So I'm going to pour my liquid eggs. They're 1/2 cup for liquid eggs or 2 large eggs for our eggs that we need to crack at home. All right, so I make sure I get down so I can get a nice level 1/2 cup. Do you see that on there? It matches right up to the 1/2 cup. All right, so we're done with eggs. So now our next ingredient is a 1/2 cup of water. To find our 1/2 cup line, which is right there. I need to turn it a little bit so I can see it. We're going to get our water. I'm going to get down so we can see that we're pouring it just right. That looks good. All right, so we have our 1/2 cup of water. All right, now our baking soda. It calls for 2 tablespoons. So we have our measuring spoons here. And most of you at home will not have a 2 tablespoon size, so you'll have to use a 1 tablespoon and do it 2 times. But I have a 2 tablespoon size, so I'm just going to do that 1 time. So I'm going to get a big mountain scoop again. See how it's a big mountain? Then I'm going to grab my straight edge spatula. Sometimes this has like little clumps in it, so I'm going to break those clumps down a little bit so I can get a full scoop. There we go. So that's a full flat scoop of baking soda. Now we need our flour. So our recipe calls for 7 3/4 cups. 7 3/4 cup of flour. So I'm going to get my right measuring cups. So this one is a 2 cup measuring cup. So we're going to count how many 2 cups we need by counting by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8. Is 8 too much? Yes. So we're only going to do 3. 2, 4, 6. So we need 3 2 cups. So I'm going to go ahead with our flour right here. We want to make sure we're making it nice and fluffy. We don't want it compacted down in, okay? So we're going to get a big mountain scoop, get our straight edge, pull it right off. So we have a full flat scoop. So how many do we need? 3. So there's 1. 2. 3. So that's 6 cups. But we need 7 3/4. So we need 1 more cup. Here's a 1 cup measuring cup. So 6 plus 1 is 7. So get that put in. Okay, so there's 7 cups. And then 3/4. Right here it says 3/4. 3/4, okay? All right, and our very last ingredient is our peanut butter chips. And it calls for 2 cups. So I'm gonna get my 2-cup measuring cup and make this nice and full. And it's hard to make a full flat scoop of peanut butter chips, so it's okay if these make a little bit of a mountain. Okay? So there's our 2 cups of peanut butter chips.